Hi, I'm Stephanie Jaworski of joybaking.com. Today we're going to make hazelnut shortbread cookies, and this is what they look like. This cookie has a wonderful crisp and crumbly texture, and it's buttery rich with the flavors of brown sugar and toasted hazelnut. They are just delicious. So the first thing that we are going to have to do is to toast our hazelnuts. So preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 180 degrees Celsius. And then you will need 1 cup, 125 grams of raw peeled hazelnuts. Put your hazelnuts on a baking sheet and then put them in the oven and bake them for, I'm going to say, between 13 and 15 minutes until they become golden brown and you can really start to smell the hazelnuts. So this, I've already done this ahead of time, and this is what your hazelnuts will look like when they come out of the oven. And then let them cool completely, and then what you want to do is, I just did this on a cutting board with a sharp knife, just fairly finely chop your nuts. You could probably do it in your food processor. Just be really careful that you don't process them too finely. And then, so for our batter, if you have a stand mixer like I have here, use your paddle attachment. You could use a hand mixer for this, or really, with shortbread, we don't want to incorporate a lot of air into our batter because shortbreads are very dense. So you could just use a bowl with a wooden spoon. And the first thing that you will need is 1 cup, which is 225 grams of, I'm using unsalted butter. Have your butter at room temperature. Now you could, if you have a favorite salted butter, you could use that and then just leave out the salt in the recipe. And another thing, if you want to make your shortbreads really buttery rich, if you live in the States, we have what is called European style butter. And what that means is it's just a higher fat content. So if you want to splurge and use that, you can. It just make your cookies a little more crisp and a little more buttery rich. And so what I'm going to do is just beat this until the butter is nice and smooth. Okay. And as always, when you're making your batter, periodically scrape down the sides and the bottom of your bowl just to make sure everything gets mixed together. And next, we are going to add 2/3 of a cup, which is 140 grams of light brown sugar. Now, if you are using a measuring cup, when you measure brown sugar, make sure you pat it down firmly because it's very soft. Let's put that in there. And I am also going to flavor our shortbreads with 1 teaspoon, 4 grams of pure vanilla extract. If you don't want the vanilla flavor in your shortbread, you can just leave that out. So I'm just going to mix this. Don't put your mixer on high speed. It's medium-low. Like I said, we don't want to beat a lot of air into our batter. So we only want to mix the ingredients together. Okay, done that. Okay, and next, in a separate bowl, scrape that. In a separate bowl, I have 2 cups, which is 260 grams of all-purpose flour, plain flour. And to that, I'm adding a 1/2 teaspoon, 2 grams of, I'm using kosher salt. And I'm just going to whisk that together. Now, like I said, if you use salted butter, because a lot of people for shortbread like to use salted butter, then just leave out that salt. We're not adding any baking powder, baking soda here, because like I said, we want a dense textured. That's how shortbread is, very dense and crisp and crumbly, so we don't want any rise when we bake them off. So put that in there. Along with our wonderful toasted hazelnuts. Love hazelnuts. And I'm just going to mix this together. Now I'm going to do this very on slow speed. You don't want it coming up in your face there. And just until it's mixed together. Okay, so it's mixed together. So as you can see, there's not a lot of ingredients. It's not a hard batter to make, but the hazelnut flavor just really shines through in this cookie. What we're going to do is we're going to divide our batter in half. Just approximate. I mean, you could get out your scale, and I have no problem with that. But because we're just rolling them out and cutting them out, it really, you don't have to be that precise. So I'm going to take, and then I'm using 2 sheets of parchment paper. You could use wax paper, or you could even use plastic wrap. And because I have granite here and my paper tends to slide, I like to just put a little bit of water. Otherwise, I'm chasing my paper. And then put your, I started, now some people what they do is they chill their shortbread and then roll it and then chill it and then cut it out. I find it's not that soft. I can roll it out which tends to kind of save a bit of time. So just kind of, I'm just evening out to start it, like so, and then with my rolling pin, I am going to roll it to about 1/4 of an inch thick, which is about 1/2 centimeter. Kind of roll from the center, because there is a tendency, and it happens to all of us, is the dough is thicker in the middle and thinner on the edges, so roll from the center. And when you're rolling periodically, peel back if you have any wrinkles. You can also flip your paper and check the underside because you don't want any wrinkles in your dough. So just roll it out, to 1/4 of an inch. Now what I do is I just take my hand, and you can kind of tell if it's all the same thickness. Like I said, usually the center's thick, and you don't want to roll. Like when you roll, stop at the edge. Don't take it past the edge, because then that's where you get the thinner. And then, if you're not, you can look. It's the first time you're doing it, and what is 1/4 of an inch? Get a ruler, and then just put it, and you can see that it's 1/4 inch, about 1/2 centimeter. That's what I do. So now, once you do that, we have to chill this till it's nice and cold and firm, because we are going to cut out our shortbread cookies. So what I do is just take a baking sheet, I use the back, and then just flip like that. And you're going to put this into the refrigerator and then do your other half. And you want to chill this until it's really firm. Somewhere between, depending on how cold your fridge is, between 1/2 an hour and an hour. I mean, actually, you could let it sit overnight if you wanted to, but you want it cold and firm. So I'm going to say somewhere between 1/2 an hour and an hour. And then when we come back, we're going to cut them out and bake them. So you will want to preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 180 degrees Celsius. So now we are ready to cut out our cookies. Our dough is nice and firm, so you will want a baking sheet lined with parchment paper, or you could just lightly spray it, or with one of those non-stick sprays, or lightly butter it. And then what I like to do is peel top piece of parchment off, and then flip it over and peel. So that way when I cut them out, they won't stick to the paper. And then you can make your shortbread cookies any size you want, any shape you want. I'm just going to use a round cookie cutter. This is about 2 3/4 inch round, which is about, I'm going to say about 7 centimeters. But like I said, larger, smaller, heart shape, or whatever you like. And then just cut down, and it's nice and cold, so it should release really easily. And then what you want to do is just put them on your baking sheet. We want to try to get as many cut out as we can. Okay, so I got 2, 4, 6, 8. I'm going to get 9 out of this. And then what I'm going to have to do, because again, you want your dough really cold, I'm going to have to gather up the scraps and chill it, or re-roll it and then chill it and cut out more. So, because my dough was really cold, I'm going to bake these off right away. If yours was soft, then you might want to put them into the whole baking sheet into the refrigerator for about 10 minutes to chill it down. But really, if your dough was really firm, you can just bake them off right away. Now, shortbread. Everyone's oven is a little different. I like a really crisp and crumbly shortbread. So that means I like to bake them until like this, golden brown. If you don't like them, like you want them a little softer, you bake them a little less. Want them even more crispy and crumbly, you bake them a little longer. So I'm going to say about 13 to 15 minutes. Rotate your baking sheet front to back about halfway through baking. Okay, so our hazelnut shortbreads are done. So put your baking sheet on a wire rack, and they're very soft right now. So what we're going to do is let them cool completely in the pan, and then when we come back, we will try one. So let's try one. What I like about this cookie, this shortbread cookie, you know, it's not fancy looking. It's fairly, let's say, plain looking. But the flavor and the texture it just goes to show that if you only need a few ingredients, top quality, and you can get a delicious cookie. It has a crisp and crumbly texture. I mean, that I just love. And then the hazelnut flavor. If you like hazelnuts. Now, it's really fantastic because we toasted those and it's really good. You can do this, like I have a pecan shortbread recipe on the site, on the joybaking.com website, or there's a video too on the YouTube channel. It's the same, almost the same recipe, but we use toasted pecans. And again, you have that really, the flavor of the nuts really comes through. So you have that really nice hazelnut flavor, and then buttery rich. Let's face it, a lot of butter in these, but that's what also contributes to that crisp and crumbly texture. You know, I like to give these as gifts. You know, you can get one of those little plastic bags and pile them up, pretty ribbon on the top. Wonderful, like just to nibble on with a cup of tea or a cup of coffee. It's really a wonderful cookie. This recipe, if you're making them this size, make about 30 cookies. You could store them for probably at least a week at room temperature. You can freeze them. Fantastic cookie. You must make it. And until next time, I'm Stephanie Jaworski of joybaking.com.